Thank you very much, Senator Fede and Deputy Political Leader of the United Workers' Party. Let me say a pleasant good morning and take this opportunity to say season's greetings to everyone, those of you present here, those of you listening through live stream. Pleasant good day and season's greetings to all St. Lucians in St. Lucia and abroad. I would have wished that if I were to address you at this time, it would be under different circumstances for different reasons. But unfortunately, we are where we are today because for the last 3.5 years, there's one constant, and that is a government that has lost its way, a government without a plan, and a government that is running St. Lucia down to a downward spiral, and of course, with no resolution in sight. Let me just say, before I address the main issue at hand, that we have a number of crises in St. Lucia today, and many of those you are very familiar with. We have our situation with the deal that went down with GPH. We have the deal that went down with NH. We have the loan of the National Lottery, which pose many questions that are still unanswered. We have, for example, the HIA, which has not started up to now, and no explanations for this. We have the St. Jude's Hospital, after 3.5 years, still not completed. Our road situation, the high gas prices, the high prices of goods in St. Lucia, the cost of living as a whole, the oppressive 2.5% tax, and all of those issues remain on the backs of St. Lucia as we come to the end of this year. Of course, the only record that the present government has to talk about is an unenviable record, is a startling, frightening record, which it appears that they have perfected and is bettering every year. I use the word bettering, but for us, it is in fact frightening. And that is the fact that we have already broken the previous record that was set in previous years of 75 homicides. The rate of homicides, the rate of murders that takes place on the streets of St. Lucia and in the homes of St. Lucians continue to rise, while we have a Prime Minister and Minister of National Security who does not think that it is even worth speaking about. And those of us who raise the alarm, those of us who express our concern, those of us who try to suggest that something be done are called unpatriotic. We are accused of wanting to see the demise of our country, and so much so the Prime Minister has even accused some of us as praying for murders to take place in this country. I want to remind the Prime Minister that he is the only one who does not seem to be concerned, he and his government. And all he has done is provide employment to his colleagues and use nomenclature related to crime to suggest that something is being done about crime. But it is obvious that nothing is being done, and if anything is being done, it's certainly not enough, and he has continued to be a failure, and the failure is more glaring every year. As we can see this year, we have passed the 75 threshold and counting. God forbid, I'm hoping that we will have a peaceful season where no more St. Lucians will perish as a result of violent crime. But I mentioned a number of the crises. I did not mention the CIP, which is a scandal of mammoth proportions, a biggest scandal St. Lucia has ever witnessed, in the sense that we are talking about over 3 billion EC dollars that is unaccounted for which questions are not being answered. And we know that, as indicated by Senator Dominic, that there was this RICO case in the United States that was filed against officials and the CIP of St. Kitts and St. Lucia, and that the news has come out that Mr. Martinez, who was the plaintiff, has dropped the RICO case. That seemed to be a big relief to the government, and they are claiming vindication. They have put out, they meaning the CIP, the CIP unit has put out a statement indicating that the dropping of the case suggests that there was no merit in the first place. Now let me just say that the United States courts would not have entertained the matter if there was no merit to it in the first place. That is one. Number two, Martinez didn't simply out of the blue drop the case, and I want to suggest that if the CIP unit and the government of St. Lucia were so confident of their innocence, they could have gone to the courts and prove it beyond any doubt. Or they had the option of coming out to St. Lucians to whom they are accountable and clear the air on the questions that were raised, the relevant, pertinent, credible questions that were raised about the program. Instead, what they did was to file a motion to have themselves protected through diplomatic immunity. So they sought that protection, and Martinez realizing, and let me just say that the fact that Mr. Felipe Martinez filed that case, Mr. Martinez filed the case predominantly for his own interests, because he felt that in the matter that he was being in some way disadvantaged, and so he wanted to recuperate his losses through the courts. That is a matter for Mr. Martinez. However, in the process of exposing some of the facts and the issues surrounding his case, we St. Lucians have discovered through evidence that were revealed that we were experiencing fraud against the state of St. Lucia, against our CIP program, and that there are many questions to be answered and explained. And so let me just indicate the unresolved issues and unanswered questions that still remain despite the fact that that case has been dropped, have not gone away, and will not go away unless and until the government and the CIP unit comes out and provide us with the answers and explanations. The CIP units stated that the lawsuit had no merit and that the withdrawal of the lawsuit underscores the lack of credibility surrounding the claims. Well, I do not wish to engage in this argument. My argument is Mr. Martinez, in his quest to pursue the matter, revealed certain documents. For example, the actual contract that was signed between the CIP unit of St. Lucia and Galaxy, which indicated that some 11,000 passports. Now people refer to it as units, as files and so on. I will remain with my layman references. It's passports that are being sold, and they tell you it is citizenships that are being sold, but the symbol of our citizenship is our passport. So for me, there were at least 11,000 passports available to Galaxy to be sold, which would amount to over $1 billion US, which would amount to about 3 billion EC dollars. My question, and the question that every St. Lucian should have on their minds today, given those facts that are irrefutable and indisputable, is why in the case of the real estate program, they were issued over 5,000 passports when a hotel was supposed to have been built, and the sale of the passport would far exceed the amount that would provide the funding for that hotel. What happens to the excess? Where does it go to? Where has it gone to? Where is it? Those pertinent questions have not been answered and must be answered. It is owed to us St. Lucians. It is our patrimony. It is our sovereignty. It is our property that has been sold to foreigners, and we deserve, we require, we are entitled to an explanation as to what has happened to those funds. It is being speculated that people are being paid. The time, despite what the Prime Minister thinks, the time for speculation is no more. We want direct, definitive answers from our government. And if it has to be that the matter has to go to court for us to get answers, then so be it. But I am saying, as a citizen of this country, I should not have to take my government to court for them to account to me about what is my business and what is my interest in this country. And so I'm calling on the government and the CIP unit to understand that the dropping of the RICO case has not absolved them or exonerated them from the putting in questions that are still outstanding, that are still on the minds of St. Lucians, and for us to get the satisfaction and comfort that, in fact, what seemed to be mass fraud and corruption is actually not the case. And so I made reference to the real estate program. There is also the infrastructure program, where some 6,000 passports were issued. My question is, first of all, what does that mean, the infrastructure program? What infrastructure? Okay, they talked about housing to the tune of how much? Why were so many passports approved? Remember, in the case of the real estate program, the United Workers' Party, when in office, approved about 750 passports for that hotel to be built. Why then there was an increase of over 4,000 additional passports so that Galaxy could build that very same hotel? Why? Why the extra passports, and where does that extra money go to? I ask those questions because these are pertinent questions. It is our passport, it is our money, and we need an account for that. That has nothing to do with Martinez. The fraud is being perpetrated against St. Lucians. The corruption that is taking place is taking place by our government officials, aided and abetted by foreigners, and it is this country that is at a loss, and the people of St. Lucia that are being deprived of much needed resources that could have gone to many of the outstanding problems that need to be resolved in this country. And so we still do not know where that money is. Is there an escrow account? Who is in charge of that escrow account? How much money is in that escrow account? And what are the arrangements for the withdrawal of that money? Again, Mr. Martinez, in his quest in filing his case, also revealed that there was underpricing taking place in our CIP program. And that is, again, an illegal act. Okay, that was revealed, and we need an explanation about this. Why was it allowed? Why was it taking place? And what has been done or is being done to remedy that situation? And so, like I said, do not come beating your chest now and behaving as if you have been absolved and you are exonerated. There is no vindication in the fact that the case was dropped, because as Mr. Martinez stated, and that is for him, a matter for him, he said that it will be too costly for him to pursue the matter in light of the fact that our officials have claimed diplomatic immunity to protect themselves from facing the courts. He has handed the information to the Department of Justice, and it is up to the Department of Justice, given the evidence that were presented to them, whether they are going to pursue the matter in a, this time not civil court, but a criminal court, which means that if this matter is pursued in the criminal court, St. Lucian officials who are affiliated to our CIP program may very well end up having to go to jail in a different jurisdiction. It is not something that we relish. It is not something that we ask for or pray for, like the Prime Minister will want to suggest, because that, not only the individuals concerned will be affected, but the reputation of our country and the credibility of our program will be at stake. Already, the integrity of our program has been severely compromised by what has happened and the exposure of the evidence that has been put out there already. We have to do everything now to restore the integrity and the credibility of our CIP program. And while I'm not the biggest fan of the CIP program, given our circumstance with the limited resources that we have access to, it is one of the avenues where this country can raise much needed resources to assist us in providing for the needs, the many needs of our country in the area of healthcare, in the area of education, in the area of security, in the area of infrastructure development. So, I call on the government to stop hiding behind immunity, diplomatic immunity. Yes, you can escape the case in the United States because Mr. Martinez has indicated, announced that he has dropped the case, but you cannot escape the unresolved issues and unanswered questions that remain here for us in St. Lucia as we grapple with exactly what it is that has happened to the sale of our passports and the monies derived from the sale of that passport. We are talking billions, okay? So money that St. Lucia can ill afford to allow to go begging, to go astray, and we want to know that our officials are above board, that they can show that they have the integrity that is required of public officials, that they are not involved in anything untoward, that they are not part of any corrupt activity, okay, aided and abetted by any foreign company, and that St. Lucians will get what is justly theirs, and that is the revenue derived from the sale of our passports through our CIP program. So I will stop at this point right here, and I will introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker will be the Deputy Political Leader, Mr. Guy Joseph, who is a former parliamentary representative for Castries East and former Minister for Economic Affairs in St. Lucia. Castries Southeast, sorry. I would love to see a different representative for Castries East, and perhaps that's why, I made that error. And so let me just say that as I call on Mr. Joseph, I ask St. Lucians, as they go through the festive season and enjoy themselves during the holidays, please let us try to resolve our differences, our conflicts in an amicable way, and that we do not resort to further violence, to further compound the situation as exists with the number of homicides. This does not only take away lives, that is irreplaceable and irretrievable, but it can also cause many problems for survivors, okay, and even the perpetrators and survivors, as well as the fact that it poses a threat to our economic development in St. Lucia, given the fact that, as you know, our main economic earner, our main income earner is tourism, which is a very fickle industry, and we do not want to go into 2025 any worse off than we are. I'm hoping that 2025 will bring much needed improvement in a lot of areas, and that our government will understand that they are not here to preside over the demise of our country, but as they promised, we are supposed to deliver to St. Lucian an improvement in the quality of life, in the standard of living, and in the preservation of our livelihood. Ladies and gentlemen, all the best to you, and have a productive and happy festive season. Merry Christmas to you, and a much better 2025 than we had in 2024. Thank you.